Welcome to LaRue's room. It is your host, Mamba Stapes. Real quick, I'm gonna keep this real short. So, had some difficulties before we had a film session, but all on me. So, keep it real quick, keep it brief. We're gonna talk about the fights that just happened. So, we're gonna start with Pitbull Cruz and Rolly. So that fight went exactly how I kind of expected. Rolly kind of comes in with literally one style. Like he's not the sharpest boxer on the planet, but he's got some power. He's definitely got punching power. But Cruz, however, I mean, he is very aggressive and he is a come at you fighter. So that type of style, I mean, you kind of need a plan B if you're Rolly. So I think Rolly just kind of, once he tasted that power, he had nothing else to do at that point. Like it was just only a matter of time. So, um, kind of figured he would get knocked out. Maybe 10th round, 11th round, but got out there a little quicker than what I expected. And Cruz, I mean, Cruz did his thing. Cruz did exactly what we thought he would do, in my opinion. I think Cruz is a serious, serious contender to win a couple belts at 140, in my opinion. I think Cruz can probably beat. I'm not saying he can beat Teofimo, but I think Teofimo and Cruz is a 60-40 fight. So I know Teofimo has a belt, but I think it's kind of one of those things where Teofimo can counterpunch him all night. But I think the punching power of Cruz could be a huge factor. I'm not saying that Cruz will knock out Teofimo Lopez. I'm not saying that. Not at all. But I think it gets very, very, very dicey. But all in all, it's a good fight. I think the Matias fight, that is... you talk about a bloodbath or a war, that would be crazy. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see it. I think Matias he's a scary guy at 140 that people don't want to see, but I think Cruz can probably be the exact same. So if I had to pick between the two, I might have to go. Whew, boy, I can't give you an answer on that. I'm gonna just say that's 50-50. Right now, that's 50-50. Because I think they both have like an instinct to kill, which is a good thing. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think they can both benefit off of that, truly. And kind of to jump on the Rolly train, his next fight, I think he needs an easy fight. I don't know who you put him up with, but if you want to do damage versus damage, maybe do like a Regis fight and a Rolly fight. That's a good fight. Or if Ryan Garcia loses this fight against Devin Haney, which I'll talk about here in just a second, that might not be a bad fight either. Don't know how I feel about that fight. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that too. So, but kind of going back to Cruz. He's legit. He's legit. And, I mean, even that fight with Tank, I know Tank, hurt his hand, but, Tank controlled the distance and outboxed him and did his thing. So, I think you're going to need kind of like that same performance. Cruz needs to at least feel your power, but also you need to move around the ring. I don't think Rolly could do anything as far as, be technical as he wanted to be because I don't think he has it in his bag. I truly don't. So Rolly was going to struggle, regardless if he didn't knock him out. So, yeah, that's what I think about that. Next fight, real quick, I want to touch on Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu. I know we posted that video of Tszyu getting his head cut. I don't know. I honestly think it was going to be a tough fight regardless. I know a lot of you who just followed the page maybe think, the complete opposite, but I don't know. I think Fundora is a huge, I mean, he's 6'4". Most people who walk or who fight at 154, they're about 5'10", maybe 5'9". Like, they're not that big. So for you to get somebody who's 6'4" and they've got an 80-inch arm reach is crazy. It's crazy. There's nothing you can do with that. Literally nothing. So I think Tszyu's best bet is to knock him out. And the fact that he couldn't, I don't think he will be able to any other time they fight. I really don't. And I think Tszyu's a hell of a fighter, but I think Sebastian Fundora's height is crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think even Earl Spence would have problems knocking him out. Um, but, talking about that fight, if Earl Spence and Fundora fight, that might be a 50-50 fight. I think I might give that nod to Earl Spence just because I'm an Earl Spence fan. Love Earl Spence. I think he is still a great fighter. I just, man, Fundora is a tough out for anybody. Tough out for anybody. So to answer y'all's question about, if Tszyu got that cut, what would have happened? I still think the same thing would have happened. I think Sebastian Fundora did everything right. I think he fought, used his jab, and he used his distance. I mean, he used his height to his advantage. For the first time ever, he used exactly what he needed to use in order to get the dub. So I think if he can maybe improve on that and continue to do that more and more, he's very dangerous. Even if he moves up to 160 or 168, whatever he wants to do, I think if he continues to box like that, he's going to win a lot of those fights. He's just too big. He's just too big. Another thing, kind of going back to the whole Errol Spence and Fundora, to be honest with you, I do not want to see Errol Spence fight Fundora at all. I don't. Kind of for the same reasons that, I explained before, the height, the reach. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I would much rather see Tszyu and Errol Spence. I think that's the fight that everybody wants to see. And I'll speak on Crawford here in just a bit too, but it's Errol Spence, man, like, I think he needs that one fight to get back and to kind of just shut some of these people up, as far as, oh, he's retiring, oh, he's washed up, oh, he's damaged goods. Like, if he stops Tszyu or even just beats him, it shuts everybody up because Tszyu is considered one of the best 154 fighters at 154 in the world. Like, it's well documented. So I think over time, man, like as he heals, that would be a nice fight to kind of bounce back and maybe get another fight with Terrence Crawford. I don't want to see Terrence Crawford fight. Excuse me. I don't want to see Terrence Crawford fight Fundora at all. I really don't. I think, again, Fundora's height is crazy. Like, it makes a huge difference. So I don't know if we'll see the best of Terrence Crawford. So, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see Terrence Crawford, like, have to challenge and, jump through hoops just to try to fight somebody, of his size. It's not fun to me. So I would much rather see a fight with either Tszyu and Errol Spence or Tszyu and Crawford. And I'm pretty sure, so I think me and Glass were talking on the other episode that Fundora and Tszyu, they have a rematch clause. So basically, if Fundora lost, no rematch at all. But if Fundora won, rematch clause was activated and they could go ahead and fight again. So I think Tszyu maybe he has a chance to win, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Fundora is just too big. I mean, he's 6'4", man. Like, and if he fights the way he fought before against Tszyu just this past weekend, I don't know. Let's just say I kind of favor Fundora in that fight. So, we'll kind of, revisit that here in just a bit, or maybe give it a couple months. And if they announce it, we'll talk about it. We'll get the squad on here. But, yeah, what I want to see next is going to be Errol Spence and Tszyu. I think that fight is probably one of the best fights that you can make at that weight. And either, Terrence Crawford too. Terrence Crawford and Tszyu. And hopefully we can get Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I don't know what needs to happen, but, in my eyes, it looks like Tszyu or Errol Spencer's gonna have to clean up 154 along with Terrence Crawford, and they meet again. If they fight, great. If they don't, I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. So, um, we'll just kind of wait to see what happens as far as that. Next fight I do want to talk about these upcoming fights. We got two matches. We got Frank Martin and Tank, which Tank is my favorite. We also have Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. So, question for you all: how do you feel about Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia? Given all the stuff that's been going on, Ryan Garcia going crazy or whatever you want to call it. Do you think it's all just kind of like a publicity stunt, or do you think Ryan Garcia is actually going through something? I personally think Ryan Garcia is kind of blowing smoke a little bit. It sounds wild, but stay with me. I really just think Ryan Garcia, he's just playing a game. He's playing a game. Granted, I don't know if it's going to work out in his advantage, but I will give Ryan Garcia a puncher's chance in that fight. I think he has the power to put Devin Haney down, but skill-wise, I think Devin Haney will use his jab and maybe put on another masterpiece. But I'm not the biggest Devin Haney fan, so for me to say that, I truly believe it. But I think if Ryan Garcia can get some power off and maybe touch Devin Haney up a little bit, who knows? Could be night, or it could be a long night for Devin Haney. Don't know. So I'm very intrigued on what happens there, given everything that's been going on with Ryan Garcia and his camp. Derek James seems to be very annoyed, so that's kind of why I feel as if it's maybe a little publicity, some type of I don't know, man, some type of game. I don't know. That's just what I feel. So, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm not, actually. I mean, hopefully it turns into a awesome fight that we can all watch and talk about for the next couple months, and we can get ready for Tank and Frank Martin. So, hopefully we can start getting some good fights in boxing this year and really have something to really cheer about, because this year in boxing has been, to start the year, it's been a little slow. So I'm hoping it picks up a little bit, as it should, and then we finish out the year very strong. So I really want to spend some time on Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis. So I was also talking to the squad about this. I think Tank is in a position to fight one of the best at 135 right now in his division, and that is Frank Martin. Frank Martin is a top 5 135 pounder. So I think Tank makes, I don't want to say he makes his fight look easy, but I think he will put Frank Martin to sleep. I really do. Frank Martin's great. Not great, but he's solid. He's athletic. He's got a lot of the tools, but that equalizer, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it just yet from him. And as far as the comp, his resume is not that impressive. Tank, however, has everything that we want. He's got the knockout power. He can box, which we don't see a whole lot of. He's got the footwork. He's got everything. He's got a whole bag, and I think we see a lot of it against Frank Martin. But I also think he puts Frank Martin down. I'm gonna go round 8. We'll go round 8 just to be safe. But I think from there, it's just a domino effect. I think he can really take over 135. I know he's a king at 135, but from a record standpoint or just from a resume standpoint, you don't see it just yet. So, let's start getting, the Frank Martins out of here. Maybe we get Shakur. I don't know. Maybe we get some other guys that are, kind of just hovering around. Loma, I really don't want to see him fight Loma at all. I think Loma's kind of at that tail end. And he's got, 3 or 4 losses? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't want to see that fight. I don't really care for it. And I don't even think Tank should even want to fight Loma at this stage of his career. Because if he beats him, oh, you beat an old Loma, that means nothing. We want to see more. I don't want to hear that. I truly think Tank is the best at 135, and he's the face of boxing. And I still think if Tank went to 140, he would beat everybody at 140. It's just the way I feel. I mean, I'm a fan, but you look at some of the some of the sparring matchups that he's had, and I the proof is there, man. The proof is there. So I guess we'll see. We'll see here in a bit. Give us some time, and we might get some of those big fights here pretty soon. But the next fight that I want to see, obviously, is going to be Tank and Shakur, and I still think Tank might beat the shit out of Shakur. Excuse my language, but Shakur is one of the best as well. But Tank's power is something different. And if Shakur, I know he had a bad fight against De Los Santos, but it doesn't matter. I think Tank can cut off that ring very easily. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. And it's only a matter of time before Shakur meets his match and gets caught. I don't think Shakur has fought anybody that impressive to say, hey, you know what? He's great. Like, he's him. His resume it doesn't show that. Does not show that at all. Oscar Valdez is the only fighter that he's fought, and he looked untouchable. But, Oscar, he's 50-50. He's good, but he can be had. Tank's different. You get in the ring with Tank, it's going to be a long night. It don't matter who you are. It's a long night. Just because he can do, he can execute plan A. And if plan A isn't working, he'll go to plan B. Plan B don't work, he'll go to plan C. So you got to pick your poison with Tank. Tank and his team are very smart. They're calculated. The way they move speaks for themselves. So I personally think that Tank will beat Shakur and beat anybody at 135, and I would like to see him at 140. Will we see it? I don't know. Tank is he's a small guy. He's a very small guy, especially fighting at, 140. He could be at a disadvantage when it comes to size, but everything else, I give him the upper hand. Only time will tell, but as of right now, he's at 135. He's fighting Frank Martin, and let's see what he does. If y'all got anything else we want to talk about boxing wise, let me know. I will be posting some highlights of some of these guys that we just talked about too. Probably Earl Spence. We'll do Earl Spence and Shakur, but those will be coming up just for some entertainment for everybody. But hey, subscribe, comment, get active. Let me know what y'all want. Appreciate y'all.